Picture this, Budapest 2025. The streets are just flooded with people, music, and color. But here's the thing, this isn't just any parade. This one was actually banned by the government, and yet thousands upon thousands of people decided to march anyway. So how does a celebration of pride become a flashpoint, a real battle for a country's democracy? Okay, let's get into this story of rights, defiance, and a city caught right in the middle of it all.
So let's start with a number, because this one really sets the stage. 100,000. That's roughly how many people showed up for the 2025 Budapest Pride, completely ignoring the official ban. I mean, this was way more than just a march. It was a massive statement, a show of force that was definitely going to be heard far beyond the city limits.
And this quote right here, from someone who was actually there, it gets to the absolute heart of the issue. For them, this was a fight, quote, not just for sexual minorities, but for the democratic future. That framing is so important, right? It totally elevates the event from a single-issue protest to this fundamental battle over human rights that really affects everyone in the country.
Which, of course, leads us to the big question. How did we get here? How did a peaceful demonstration turn into this showdown between laws and the Constitution itself? Well, to figure that out, we've got to look at the exact laws that set this whole thing in motion. Okay, so the root of this whole conflict is this deep tension, this legal tug-of-war between new government laws and the fundamental principles written right into Hungary's own constitution. It's a classic case of new rules pushing up against foundational, established rights. This didn't just happen overnight. It was a clear three-step escalation. It all started back in 2021 with the law that banned the promotion of homosexuality to anyone under 18. Then, in 2024, a constitutional amendment came along that basically put the moral development of children above other fundamental rights. And that was the key move, because it laid the legal groundwork for the final step in 2025, a brand new law that used that exact argument to ban the Pride March. You can see the path, clear as day, leading right to this moment.
And this slide lays out the core legal contradiction perfectly. On one hand, you have the government saying its laws are there to protect children. But on the other hand, you have a 2021 report from the Ombudsman reminding everyone that the state has a constitutional duty to ensure genuine equality for all citizens. I mean, these two positions just can't exist together legally, and that clash is the epicenter of this entire dispute.
So let's just talk for a second about the right of assembly itself. This is a huge deal, a cornerstone of any democracy. And it's protected by international treaties and Hungary's constitution. It lets people gather peacefully to express themselves. Now, what's really important is that any restriction on this right has to be a total last resort. It has to be necessary, and it has to be proportional, which basically means the solution can't be worse than the problem. So the big question was, did banning Pride actually meet that really high legal standard?
So, in the middle of this whole legal mess, the response from everyday people and the city's leadership became absolutely critical. They didn't just throw their hands up and accept the ban. Oh no. Instead, they got organized and started a strategic, unified pushback. What happened next was this incredible strategic chess match. First, the police reject the march's registration, pointing to the new law. Then, in a really clever countermove, the mayor of Budapest just declares the march a municipal event, arguing it doesn't even need police approval. So the government fires back, threatening the organizers with actual prison time. But guess what? The organizers in the city, they didn't blink. They held their ground, showing everyone the power of a united front.
And you can bet that what was happening in Budapest did not go unnoticed. This local fight for rights quickly grabbed the world's attention and brought in this huge wave of international support.
And that brings us to this number, over 120,000. That's how many people signed a petition started by Amnesty International. We're talking people from all over the globe adding their names to demand that the authorities in Budapest let the peaceful march happen.
And get this, those signatures came from 73 different countries. 73! This number just proves that things like the right to assemble and the fight for equality are seen as universal values, and believe me, the world was watching what was happening in Budapest very closely.
Now, we have to be really clear about something. Showing up to march that day carried some serious risks. The government even authorized the use of facial recognition technology to identify people. Marchers faced potential fines, and the organizers themselves were threatened with up to a year in prison. So, knowing all that, 100,000 people still decided to walk. That's powerful.
So when you strip it all away, what were the real stakes that day in Budapest? This was about so much more than just one parade.
It was a defense of fundamental democratic principles that matter to everyone.
When you boil it all down, this is what was truly on the line. The right of any group to gather peacefully. The core principle that everyone is equal before the law, without discrimination. The power of regular people, of civil society, to make their voices heard even when the state tries to stop them. And, at the end of the day, it was about a nation's commitment to upholding basic international human rights. The whole story of the 2025 Budapest Pride leaves us with this huge question that, really, every society has to answer for itself. Where do you draw the line between protecting one group's interests and restricting the fundamental freedom of another? It's a question that goes way beyond Budapest, right? It touches on that delicate and sometimes difficult balance of rights and liberties in all modern democracies.